Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Please. Yes, thank you, IT. Thank you. Members, just before we start tonight's meeting, there has been a number of tragic deaths and bereavements in our borough, as there always is every month, but there just seems to have been an exceptionally high tragic bereavements in the last number of days and weeks, and one of which is our Councillor Catherine Nelson's, the passing of her mother. Many of you will have known Catherine's mother suffered from a breathing illness for quite some time, but I remember pre-COVID that it never stopped her from being at many of events. She actually had the same illness as what my mother-in-law had, but it certainly didn't keep her back. But it's with sadness that her mother has now passed away, and I would just want, on behalf of Council, both myself and the Chief Executive have written to Catherine and her family to pass on our condolences at this time. It would be remiss, members, as well, not to acknowledge the death of Dr. Sean McMahon in the tragic incident at South Lake Leisure Centre this time last week, actually. As many of you know, he was due to get married on Friday, and our condolences to him and his fiancée and his family at this time. And members, I'm sure on your behalf, I want to commend our staff at the Leisure Centre for their swift action in this tragic situation. Both myself and Roger have been in contact with senior management in the Leisure Centre to ensure that the necessary support is being provided to our staff who were exceptional during that incident. So members, just now, if I can then, on a happier note, welcome Caroline Leonard, our new interim strategic director for community and growth. Now, I've written down her application form so that I get this right. So members, just Caroline has been appointed for 6 months as our interim strategic director for community and growth. She is originally from Portadown and has lived and worked in Belfast for over 30 years since graduating with a degree in economics and a master's in health services management. She's worked in both the private and public sector and recently retired from the Trust in Belfast, where she was a director for cancer and specialist services. So she's now joining us for the next 6 months, and I'm sure that she will give a full introduction. I did offer her to invite to speak this evening herself, but she's petrified of us all, so she graciously declined. So she'll introduce herself when it comes to the committee. Councillor Hockey, I see you have indicated that you would like to speak. Okay.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Councillor Nelson is joining us this evening on Zoom, but she has just asked me to say a few words on her behalf this evening. So she wants to send a sincere and heartfelt thank you to council officers and members from all parties who have reached out to her in recent weeks, be it by email, letter, visiting the house, and in particular those who attended her much-loved mum's wake and funeral. She also asked me to say that many of you will have met her mum, who was this is her words, so many of you will have met my mum, who was my +1 to many events here in the council. I was beyond proud to bring her with me. She was the strongest woman I knew and inspired me in every single way. And it is that strength and inspiration I will use to navigate the weeks and months ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hockey. Thank you. Members, we'll just move. Okay, thank you. We'll just move on now, members, to apologies. I have received an apology from Councillor Johnston. Any others from the floor? Alderman Baxter, 1 wee second.
Just Alderman Rankin, who may join us on Zoom later.
Okay. Okay, members, then just on to agenda item number 2, and that's the minutes of the council meeting held on the 24th of July. If I could have a proposer and seconder for those, please. I can keep you here to 10 o'clock tonight, members, if you want. Councillor Savage and Councillor Mackle, thank you. Members' declaration of interest, we can make those requests to the floor anytime throughout the process. Okay, all right. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I thought someone was asking me a question there. Okay, over to agenda item number 5 is the Chief Executive's report. I believe, Charlene, if anyone has any questions, it's a decision item. It's a letter of offer from the Labour Market Partnership. If anyone has any questions. If not, can I have a proposer and a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Mackle. And a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Hockey. Thank you. Members, there's quite a few items of correspondence. Item 5.1 and 5.2. If you have any comments, if you want to feed those through to member services. 5.3. Oh, I have two. Okay. Oh gosh, it's like Christmas, all the lights that are lighting up. Councillor Savage, you were first. Just.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor. I was just on 5.3. Is that all right? Oh, we haven't. No worries. Sorry.
Members, I'm on 5.1, 5.2. The two lights on, are they referring? Yes, Councillor O'Dowd.
Just in relation to the lowering of the age. Lowering of the voting age to 16 and 17-year-olds play a vital role in society throughout employment, studying, paying taxes and volunteering throughout the community and charity groups. People at the age of 16 are treated as adults in every other manner within the government, quite willing to be happy to accept their taxes, but will not afford them the basic democratic right to vote. Sinn Féin strongly believe that extended franchise to 16-year-olds would be positive, democratically, and encourage young people to engage politically. Young people should not be forced to depend on older voters to represent their distinct interests and varied values. Voters at 16 would close the gap between political representatives and the younger electorate, laying the foundations for political engagement throughout their lives at the younger age. During the Scottish independent referendum, the vote was extended to 16 and 17-year-olds. 80% of 16 and 17-year-olds registered and 75% turned out to vote. Elections are reserved, except matter. We do not have the powers to change the voting age, but we would welcome it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor O'Dowd. Councillor Flaherty.
Well, I'm number 5.5, Lord Mayor, so.
Councillor McConville Walker, are you 5.1 or 5.2? Is your, yep, okay, I'll call you in now. Second.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. It was just to second what Councillor O'Dowd. Oh, sorry, it's been a long day. What Councillor O'Dowd has just proposed there.
Councillor McConville Walker, Councillor O'Dowd didn't make any proposal there. She just actually asked that for support. So there's been no proposal made. You're just seconding that support then? Okay, thank you. Just making clarity on that. That's great. Thank you. Okay, members, are we content to move on from 5.1, 5.2? So we're moving on then to 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So I will call in. I seen Councillor Ferguson's light was first on. Oh, sorry, I apologise. Yours was on, Councillor Savage, and then it went off, but I'll call you in first anyway. All right. And then
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor, for bringing me in again. It was just a 5.3 on the letter received from Colin Hutchinson and DFI. I just want to note my disappointment in relation to the A1 Junctions Phase 2. You know, this has been going on for a very, very long time, and it's now been put on the long finger. And they're going to wait till after the confirmation of the Regional Strategic Transport Network Plan. And only then are they then going to see if there's any funding available for it. So you know, this is going to be a big disappointment to the many families who've lost members on that road, those who've been injured, and indeed those who still use the road. I myself try to avoid using the A1 whenever possible, and I'm bitterly disappointed at the decision that the department have came to. And also note that the A23 or the A28 and the A3 in Armagh and Portadown are on the same boat, and possibly even on a longer finger there. But you know, we are where we are, and we have got the FA coming in on the 18th of September. So look, I hope they're going to explain these decisions then. But I just wanted to note my disappointment, Lord Mayor. So thank you for letting me in there.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Councillor Savage. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And it's really just to come in and support Councillor Savage on what his comments regarding the A1. It's very unsatisfactory that it's priority 3 and that there are currently new projects that are under consideration that are before this project. We know for the past 15 years the dangerous challenges that people have faced on this road. There have been many fatalities, many serious accidents. And as the main economic corridor from Belfast to Dublin, I think it needs to be given greater priority. And I'll certainly be raising that at the meeting on the 18th of September as well. Thank you.
Slow tonight. Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Online we have Councillor O'Hanlon. So if you just want to unmute there.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And like the two councillors before me, want to express my disappointment at the letter received from DFI, but in particular the Armagh East and West Link roads. These roads have been talked about long before some of us were even born, and the lack of investment in the infrastructure around Armagh City is choking the city. It's choking it environmentally. It's choking it in relation to the flow of traffic, but it's also choking it economically. And I would express my grave disappointment, as with the other projects in the area, in terms of the Portadown to Rich Hill dualling and the A1, the safety passes at A1. I too will be raising this at our meeting with DFI, but let's not put too fine a point on this. This is because we don't have an executive. We need local ministers there prioritising local projects, and the continued lack of investment in infrastructure in our area is harming everyone. It's harming our communities, and it's harming the economic prosperity of our area. And I really want to express my severe disappointment at this evening.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor O'Hanlon. Councillor McClelland.
Yes, Lord Mayor, thank you for letting me in, and it'll be no surprise that it's on 5.7 and the rather long letter from DFI regarding the whole winter service issue and our upcoming meeting on the 18th of next month. And I suppose a wee bit like Councillor Savage and Councillor Ferguson earlier, it's just to register the disappointment that is contained within this letter. It seems that it is restating policy. In fact, it's almost like the official is getting retaliation in first ahead of the meeting coming up. And I suppose the question is, when are these people going to actually start to listen to people who live in our rural communities and indeed right across the borough? So it's just to, again, extremely disappointed, and it's questionable what use or benefit the 18th can have given the reply that's in front of us.
Thank you, Councillor McClelland. Councillor Flaherty.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Can I just say, with regards to 5.7 there, we may get used to being disappointed. Because, no, I'm sorry, because without a government, I'm going to say the same thing when it comes to this. without a government and without an executive, we are going to get these answers. We are going to get these answers. So this is what we're in here at the minute. I do want to refer to 5.5 because I do want to thank you, Chief Executive, for being so speedy with the letter and with their response. But if you can annotate in some way a big sigh for the minutes, because I'm getting a real sense of deja vu here, Lord Mayor. A slightly less wordy than previous I've had. Again, unfortunately, I'm not surprised. I'm also not that disappointed because this is exactly what I was expecting. What I wasn't expecting, I suppose, was to be the terms that have been referred to. It is incredibly disappointing for parents who launched this campaign and the charities that launched this campaign in such a wonderful blaze of glory in Stormont, which again, a waste of time, but like think that was used for the letter, because intends, the word intend is used when resources permit. We have to do this. We may consider, given the current constraints, it's not possible at this time. They've referred parents, just to be clear, folks, they've referred parents to an HC1 form, which is 22 pages long. They've also referred you to the HC5 form, which is hospital travel costs, which you can't get unless you're allocated HC1, which you can't get if you're not on a low income and you're not receiving any other benefits. I can assure you there are many families and many parents that find themselves in that hospital, any of our hospitals, that are working parents, and they're thrown. So this just. It's incredibly infuriating. So, Chief Executive, thank you very much for taking the time to write the letter. Lord Mayor, I'm not actually, surprisingly, going to ask you to write another letter because, as I've said, at this point, with no government, no executive, no hope here at the minute, it will really, honestly and truly waste your ink. So, I'm going to take some time to regroup on this. I'm no stranger to a campaign. And a sense one coming here. But until then, families will continue to support families because that's what they do. They always have and they always will. I will continue to pack ladybird bags up. People like Sarah and David Watson will continue to pack suitcases up. And we will, as I have said before in this chamber, get there in the end. Thank you very much, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Okay. So just moving on then, members, are we content then that any other comments, you want to feed those through to member services? Agenda item number 6 then, the schedule of documents requiring corporate seal. Could we go 1.1 to 1.6 on block and have a proposer and seconder for those? Yes, thank you, Alderman Burns and Councillor McClelland. Thank you. Members, we're just now going to go into confidential business. Could I have a proposer and a seconder to go into confidential? Alderman Baxter and Councillor McElrath. Members and listeners to the audio feed, in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into confidential session of the Council. This means that we'll be turning off the public audio feed of the meeting, and this will return when the meeting is restarted. And can I ask ICT to let me ICT could let me know when we're back in public feed. Okay, thanks again. Members, agenda item number 9. There was a few items of AOB had came in, but I believe that officers have been in contact with both parties and that reports are being brought to appropriate committees. Am I correct in that? Yeah. Paul, yeah, Councillor, hold on, Councillor Duffy.
Yeah, thank you, Lord Mayor. Yes, an officer did get in contact, but he had passed it on to other officers. He says it wasn't his department, but that he'll ask them to bring a report through about the state of the greens in Lockall Golf Course. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy, and that's the normal procedure that we would normally do when AOB comes in. Councillor Alexander.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Yeah, spoke to Neil Thompson, was quite happy to get his call earlier on today, but again, not his department. I'm keen to speak with Glenn Ferry once he returns tomorrow, I believe, but I'd just be keen to get a report brought back to the relevant committee about the blue-green algae. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Thank you. And members, that's it. Thank you for an easy council meeting tonight. It's nice to get home in daylight. Take care, everyone driving home.